morning, and welcome to the 382nd meeting of the BRTB. This meeting is being recorded, and if anyone online experiences any difficulties, please send a message in the chat box. I ask that the BRTB members turn on their cameras during the roll call for attendance as well as for voting. I ask Ms. Rebecca Dybel to start the roll call to determine member participation.
Good morning, everyone. Annapolis, Anne Arundel County, Baltimore City,
Present.
Baltimore County,
Here.
Carroll County.
Yes, here.
Thank you. Hartford County,
Here.
Queen Anne's County,
Here.
and I'm sorry, did I say Howard County? I apologize.
You did, but we're here.
Sorry. Thank you so much. MDOT,
Here.
RTA of Central Maryland,
Here.
MDOT MTA,
Here.
Maryland Department of the Environment,
Here.
Maryland Department of Planning.
Good morning. Here.
Good morning. And FHWA.
Present.
Thank you so much.
All right, our first item is for the approval of the minutes from both the December 15th and the February 5th BRTB meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review those minutes? Hearing none, okay. Can I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes?
Baltimore County will make the motion. Hartford County seconds.
All right, thank you. Baltimore County for the motion, and second was from Hartford. Are there any edits from the members? All right. We'll now vote on the approval of the minutes. When your name is read, please indicate aye or nay.
Annapolis, Anne Arundel County, Baltimore City,
Aye.
Baltimore County,
Aye.
Carroll County,
Aye.
Hartford County,
Aye.
Howard County,
Aye.
Queen Anne's County,
Aye.
MDOT,
Aye.
and RTA of Central Maryland.
Aye.
Thank you again.
All right. Next is our public participation opportunity, where we offer the public a chance to speak to the board. If anyone has any comments or any of the action on any of the action items, please wait for the item to be discussed. If there's anyone who wishes to address the board at this time, please indicate in the chat box. Is there anyone, Todd?
Mr. Chair and board, there was no one who requested to speak prior to the meeting, and currently there was no one requesting to speak in the chat box.
All right, thank you. To accommodate a scheduling conflict, we will be adjusting the agenda, and now we welcome Mr. John Picari, Chair of the Maryland Advanced Air Mobility Council. He will share a summary of the recently released council reports. Welcome.
Thank you, Chair Dickerson, and thank you all for accommodating my schedule. For those of you with federal highways and MDOT, I'm outside of USDOT going into a meeting. So again, thanks. I want to spend just a couple of minutes talking about the Advanced Air Mobility Council that Governor Moore set up by executive order, talk about the background, the recommendations, and then the next steps, and ask you all for some help essentially going forward. I should first point out that MDOT has been a key part of this effort from the beginning. In particular, Ashish Solanki, who's with us today, who directs regional aviation at the Maryland Aviation Administration, has been a key driver behind it. So we can go to the next slide. And we can go to the next slide, actually. Again, Governor Moore set it up by executive order. The idea was for Maryland to have a statewide economic development-based approach to advanced air mobility. I'll talk a little bit about briefly about what advanced air mobility is. But one way to think of it is as the third aviation revolution. If the Wright brothers were the first generation and the jet age was the second, advanced air mobility is the third. You can go to the next slide. That's the membership. You'll note that the governor appointed a number of his cabinet members and designees to make sure that, for example, from a planning perspective and integration with local land use, advanced air mobility was built in from the beginning. The Department of Commerce is the economic development driver behind it, and MDOT as the mobility partner in this. MAA Executive Director Shanetta Griffin is the appointee on this from MDOT, State Police, the AG's office, the University of Maryland's UAS Research and Operations Center, a local municipal official, Greg Pecoraro, who's also the executive director of the National Association of State Aviation Officials, Dr. Wilson from the College of Southern Maryland, manager of the Frederick Airport, and then a shock trauma physician. And I'll talk a little bit more about that tie-in in a minute. Next slide, please. So advanced air mobility, just think of it as the umbrella term. It's aerospace vehicles and technologies. They're primarily, but not exclusively, electric. So in environmental terms, this is actually pretty revolutionary in terms of moving people and goods by air in a much more environmentally responsible manner. It runs the spectrum from drones, uncrewed air systems that you often think about, to regional air mobility, which is 4, 9, or 19-seat aircraft that can, in a very efficient way and a less environmentally impactful way, move passengers between regional airports that don't have service now or are losing service because of the changing economics. And again, I'll talk a little bit more about that. And then finally, the kind of the Jetson-like part of it that you probably hear about is urban air mobility, vertical takeoff and landing, electric and hybrid electric aircraft that perform everything from aeromedical functions to connecting passengers to more traditional aviation. Next slide, thanks. The idea is that advanced air mobility is essentially a new mode of transportation, somewhat distinct from aviation, in that trips that currently can't be served and services that can't currently be served by fixed wing or helicopter aviation aren't done very efficiently by ground transport, can be done by advanced air mobility. For the movement of people and goods safely and efficiently, this is a really revolutionary way to go. It's also, I should point out, an opportunity for the United States, where, after all, we invented aviation, to assert aviation leadership nationally and internationally. The benefits, basically affordable, safe, and efficient transportation, ranging from everything from drone delivery of orders from Walmart, Amazon, and others, to aeromedical, saving lives by air. Other things like cargo and freight operations, disaster response and recovery. It's being used today for infrastructure inspection to much more safely, for example, survey the underside of bridges via drone rather than a bucket truck. It's used for environmental monitoring and other uses as well. These are all potential uses that we expect to see in the state of Maryland. So why is AAM important to Maryland? I'm going to start with something that's near and dear to my heart. I also serve on the shock trauma board in Maryland, and that system is the nation's innovator in what's called the golden hour, getting critically injured people to a level 1 trauma center within that hour, which dramatically improves the survival rate of patients. Maryland started that system. It's still the most it's unique in the nation in its service. It's tied directly to transportation in many ways, including part of the vehicle registration fee in Maryland pays for a portion of this shock trauma system, which guarantees basically that from anywhere in the state, we'll get you to a level 1 trauma center in that golden hour, often in 30 minutes or less. There's other advantages that Maryland has as well, including 218 airports, which very few of which have any kind of scheduled air service at this point. We also have some unique geographic features and advantages that may be disadvantages on the transportation side, like the Chesapeake Bay separating parts of the state, Mountain Maryland being relatively inaccessible for timely delivery of goods. And we have had and continue to enjoy really strong partnerships with the federal government, with the military, with industry resources, with the biomedical industry, for example. And then finally, the educated resource. The great foundational higher ed systems and community college systems in Maryland actually played to advanced air mobility's advantages. Everything from job skills training for for power plant mechanics, pilots, maintenance of the system, and I'll talk a little bit about biomedical as well as an early application. So next slide, please. So the Advanced Air Mobility Council that the governor put together has put out its final report. It's available. It's online. Ashish is an expert on this if you have any follow-up questions. But we're going to start with, on the Maryland side, a public information campaign, making sure that also some of the security issues like what's called counter unmanned air systems efforts, making sure that drones that are not benign uses in every case are not in any way threatening facilities in Maryland. But the public education part of it, including the work with counties and municipalities on the planning and zoning integration of advanced air mobility, is a critical part of it. You see on the right side here what's going on at the federal level as well. So without diving into the alphabet soup of acronyms, the Federal Aviation Administration is working on certifying advanced air mobility air vehicles for what's called beyond visual line of sight, being able to fly uncrewed beyond line of sight. Some early medical applications, which we think Maryland can be a national and international leader in. And there are actually air vehicles, passenger carrying and cargo carrying air vehicles that have begun the certification process with the FAA. The Federal Aviation Administration had to make up a whole new category of certification for this called powered flight. But the whole point of this Advanced Air Mobility Council is to build us into the federal timeline, take advantage of it, and use the unfair advantage that we have of being next to the nation's capital in terms of integration with policies, pilot programs, and the like. This will require some infrastructure changes and improvements throughout the state. So it might be a green vertiport on the roof of a building. It might be drone delivery corridors. It might be upgrade of some of our regional aviation and public airport assets that we have around the state to actually bring back some of the regional air service that increasingly, as a nation, we've lost because fundamentally the economics don't work anymore. Just to give you one sense of the potential relative advantages, Beta Technologies, one of the original equipment manufacturers of electric conventional takeoff and landing aircraft, recently did a flight from Long Island to LaGuardia Airport. A typical flight would have used about $150 worth of jet fuel. It used $7 worth of electricity. And the economic impact was obviously much lower too. And that's a four person aircraft. Again, for regional aviation, the economics can potentially work for 9 and 19 seat service, reconnecting the Eastern Shore, Southern Maryland, Western Maryland, with BWI Marshall Airport, with the national aviation system as well. So next slide, please. And just to wrap it up, here's the ask part of it. One, we're asking BRTB to support and incorporate advanced air mobility into the long-range transportation plan. It's a brand new element of the long-range transportation plan. It's a really important one, and it's one that's going to take a lot of work, again, at the county and local level, to make sure that land use planning, that local zoning requirements and the like are actually compatible with it, and likewise AAM is compatible with local needs. We'd ask you to include AAM in the congestion management process. It is a potential new tool to, at a minimum, work at the margins on the congestion management process and help with high priority movement in congested ground space. It should be a future multimodal consideration, just as bicycle pedestrian facilities are an essential element today and tomorrow in transportation system. Advanced air mobility should be as well. Using the integration program for connected and autonomous vehicles that you have as a model for AAM integration is potentially a great path forward, and a template that could be helpful. And it's important to note that one of the early uses that from the governor and his team's perspective is really important is that aeromedical, an emergency medical response, disaster response and recovery that I briefly talked about. You can easily see a scenario where the Maryland Air Guard, for example, would have both a civilian and military AAM function in responding to disasters and being able to do aerial resupply, aerial observation, and the like through AAM for both civilian and military needs. We're also, Maryland is part of a multi-state pilot project application with the Federal Aviation Administration. We hope to see that soon. One early application, just to give you a sense of what's happening, is Maryland has a biotech company located in Silver Spring called United Therapeutics. It's a publicly listed public benefit corporation. One of the things that they do is they take donated human lungs that cannot be used for transplant or are not in a state to be used for transplant. They fly them to BWI Marshall or Martin State, move by ground transport to Silver Spring, where they lose an hour, sometimes more, each way. They operate on those lungs. They send them back out once they're rehabilitated and useful for transplant. And they go to patients basically everywhere east of the Mississippi River. That's an early aeromedical application. There are some pilot concepts of operation that are much more ambitious that will make Maryland a national and international leader in aeromedical. We would ask for BRTB's support on an ongoing basis as we work through those pilot programs and work with local jurisdictions to incorporate them. And then finally, this will be a potential draw on the Transportation Trust Fund as well. You can see today, for example, the building electric charger networks at regional airports is a short-term priority. In the longer term, there may well be other facility needs as well. But building this in as a transportation mode essentially into the long-range plan is really important. So with that, I'll be happy to take any questions, and thanks for your time. And I know I tried to cover a lot of ground. Again, Ashish Solanki is the long-term subject matter expert, and we look forward to working with you on this.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Bakari. Is there any questions? Oh, I see one.
Yes. I had a quick question on the type of changes you're looking for from local zoning. Like, does the report get into some type of model regulations or the type of changes you'd be looking for at the local level that we need to start contemplating, considering that it's not a overnight process? And I think it's pretty amazing to think we could start seeing some flights in 2027. I mean, that's just amazing. So it's happening quickly, and just thinking about what the locals might need to do to plan for it.
It's a great question, Steve, and a couple of things. The reason that the Maryland Planning Secretary was on the AAM Council was to start thinking about that and thinking about how to work with local partners on that. You don't have to start from scratch. So there's an organization called AUVSI, the Association of Uncrewed Vehicle Systems International. I know it's a mouthful, that has actually put together materials that are very useful for this, for local jurisdictions to think about how you build this into your long-term plans, some best practices from other jurisdictions. So again, you don't have to start from scratch. This really only works if it's a local, state, federal partnership. And that's really the context that we look at it in. I know that that's an ambitious time frame. I will tell you, a lot of this is actually happening right now. So the bridge inspection part that I talked about, the first pilot project of transplant of organs, transplantable organs by UAV has already taken place. It happened in Maryland in 2019. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes. And in every local jurisdiction, you're likely to find local businesses that have some kind of potential implementation of this. So kind of the sooner you think about it, the better. In terms of impacts on local jurisdictions, the environmental impact is lower because, again, it's typically either all electric or hybrid electric propulsion. Noise impacts are one that you're going to want to think about. The integration with other zoned uses and compatibility is one. But the work that AUVSI has done is a good place to start. I guess one final note on that. We look forward to actually briefing MML and MACO as part of this as well. So we need to make sure that that our statewide organizations for both municipalities and counties are part of this process.
Thank you. That's very helpful. Appreciate it.
All right. I see another question from Jeff.
John, thanks for that. Good to see you too.
Good to see you.
Can you give me a sense of what kind of infrastructure you're thinking about on the transportation side that would be, we'd be looking to the TTF for?
Yep. So great question, Jeff. So in the short term, charging infrastructure. So Frederick Airport, for example, already has a beta, which is one of the vendors, has a beta charging cube. It's a megawatt class charger. It uses the NACS charging standard that Tesla developed. So at the Frederick Airport, they can actually charge their ground vehicles, their electric ground vehicles, from that same cube right now. That's something you'll see in the short term. In the longer term, there may well be helipads, vertiports. There's a lot of precedent for this. So for the shock trauma system statewide, MDOT actually paid for, the trust fund paid for some of the helipads that the Maryland State Police medevac helicopters use. That would be another potential one. For regional air mobility, the kind of regional aviation that we have essentially lost as a nation, there may be either airside or landside improvements. And so one example is the Hagerstown Airport. You're helping expand today the passenger terminal there that has limited service. But you could see where Easton, Salisbury, St. Mary's, and lots of other airports might need similar help if you bring back that regional air mobility. Those are just some thoughts. I think you have a couple of built-in advantages here. First of all, in the expertise that Ashish and Shinada Griffin, who came to us from the FAA, actually have in this, in understanding of it. But you, from a TTF perspective and from a regional air quality conformity perspective, you really ought to think about the environmental benefits of this and figure out the emissions reduction or slower emissions growth, whatever the case may be, as a potential credit that you could actually use.
Thanks, John.
All right. Thank you. Any other questions? All right. Hearing and seeing none. Thank you very much, Mr. Bukhari. I appreciate this.
Thanks, everybody. Keep up the good work.
All right. We now ask for the report on the public involvement activity from Mr. Todd Lang. Todd?
Mr. Chair, Monica Haynes-Banquetta was able to join this morning, so I will ask her and turn the presentation over to her, if that's okay.
All right.
Good morning, everyone. Okay, I think Todd's going to pull up a presentation in a moment. There we go. Great. So I'm here to present the Public Involvement and Community Engagement Report for February. Next slide. We have a website that we engage the community. It's called yourregionyourvoice.org. And I'm going to share some highlights of how many folks have been participating. Next slide. So in January, we had over 22,000 visitors to our project pages. We had 41 people participate in our different surveys, yielding 21 comments. We also send out over 7,800 emails. A lot of those are announcing our current engagement opportunity, which I'll highlight in a moment. And we had a really great open rate of 67.9%. We had over 150 new folks join us, and that brings our total subscribers to over 32,000. So I'm really excited to share. We currently are welcoming comments on our transportation planning budget. A lot of you in the business may know this document as the Unified Planning Work Program, but we've rebranded it as the Transportation Planning Budget, and we are welcoming comments through March 8th. So this is our work program and budget where we outline different work that we're going to do. Next slide. So we're really excited to share. We have, I think, 14 projects that we've outlined to work on and different focus areas. This is a handful of those. Some of the new ones that we're looking at is how to prepare for new travel technology, as we just heard some about, and preparing, looking at bus rapid transit and transit-oriented development is also on the some of the projects we proposed. We have been working on the Bikeable Baltimore Region project over the last few years, and so now we're looking at doing some design and planning to get some of those networks that we identified planned and designed ready for funding. So one of the projects that I'm excited about is enhancing local public engagement. So how can we look at different best practices for public engagement around the region, share with each other, and make sure that everyone has access to the decision-making process at the local level. So these are some of the projects. We have a website at yourregionyourvoice.org/BRTB budget. Next slide. And we want to hear from you. We want to hear from board members, committee members. We want to hear from the general public, anybody who's interested in our work and our projects. So we've made it easy for folks to share. As I mentioned, we have a project page at yourregionyourvoice.org/BRTB budget. We have a short survey on there where you can answer a few questions about, what do you think of the priorities that we've outlined, and share any comments you might have on those projects. And so you can do that through a survey. You can send us an email. The survey is also available by text. You can send a keyword BRTB budget 27 to the 855-925-2801 number. We also welcome voice messages. You don't have to write up a huge, summary if you don't want. You can give us a call and leave us a voice message. We also have some posts on social media, so we encourage you to check those out and please share with folks in your community. Next slide. So wanted to also just let folks know about Be More Involved. It's a monthly newsletter where we share transportation updates around the region, what's going on, how people can be involved, what kinds of meetings are going on, what kinds of safety information we can share, and showing folks how their participation leads to progress in different plans and projects. So we're doing a short survey to get feedback on the newsletter. We encourage folks also to just scan that QR code or visit the archive that we have at yourregionyourvoice.org/be more involved, so you can check out previous newsletters and sign up for our mailing list. Next slide. We've been out and about connecting with folks at different commission meetings and professional meetings. This is some of the meetings we attended in January. So we've been connecting with different commissions for women. Staff member went to the Carroll County Transit Advisory Council, connecting with Commission on Disabilities as well. And we are announcing our engagement hub. We're sharing opportunities for folks to be involved and making sure that people who haven't traditionally been involved or may have been disadvantaged in some way know about who we are and how they can be involved. Next slide. We also have volunteer opportunities for a group called the Transportation Corps. It's a virtual group that provides insider, feedback to the staff at BMC for the Baltimore Regional Transportation Board. We have a lot of folks from our core area of Baltimore City and the county, but we are looking for folks from Annapolis, Anne Arundel, Carroll, Harford, Howard, and Queen Anne's County. And again, it's a virtual volunteer opportunity, and you participate in some virtual meetings throughout the year, and then asynchronous or at your pace activities. So what's ahead in 2026? We are gearing up for our short range plan, which we are rebranding as Region Now. So looking at, what's coming up now, what are the projects in the short term, and then we're going to also be continuing our process of the long range plan, and that is going to be called Region Next. So looking forward into what's next in the future. We are going to be conducting phase 3 of the Patapsco Regional Greenway Cherry Hill design process. process. We've already been out in the community, and due to the lovely winter weather we've had this year, it's been a little bit of a delay, but we expect to go out soon with final alignment and location for people to share comments. Then we'll launch phase 1 of Henryton Road, which is another portion of the Patapsco Regional Greenway. So we're have other projects as well, and we encourage you to stay tuned at yourregionyourvoice.org and sign up for our newsletters there. And that is all I have. If anybody has questions, please let me know.
All right. Thank you, Monica. I don't see any questions. So now we now ask for a report on the December meeting for the technical committee from Ms. Angie Daniel. Angie.
Mr. Chair, we have a last-minute substitution. Zach Kaufman from BMC is going to be doing the report from the technical committee. Zach?
Okay.
Sure. All right, thanks. So in February, the technical committee considered resolutions for 2 project amendments to the 26 to 29 TIP. The amendments were for Harford County's Abingdon Road over CSX Railroad project and MDOT SHA's project replacing the Putty Hill Avenue Bridge over I-695. Project sponsors presented information on both projects and will do so today, and the technical committee agreed to send the resolutions to the BRTB for consideration and approval. Next, BMC staff provided an update on Region Next 2055, the long-range transportation plan for the Baltimore region. The presentation focused on proposed goals and strategies and project scoring updates for Region Next. Staff drafted revisions to the goals and associated strategies in fall 2025, with presentations to the tech committee in September and October. Updates focused on simplifying strategies and integrating information from recent planning efforts, such as the transportation needs assessment and scenario planning projects. The proposed goals and strategies will be posted on a webpage for Region Next 2055 soon. The bulk of the presentation focused on proposed updates to the technical scoring methodology for roadway and transit projects by goal area. Proposed staff updates account for recommendations from the Transportation Needs Assessment Project, prior public comments, and MDOT's proposed project prioritization framework. BMC is seeking technical committee consensus on the proposed goals and strategies and project scoring in March so that staff can proceed with the call for projects in the spring. BMC staff plan to present resolutions on both items in May. Finally, BMC staff summarized the draft addendum to the fiscal 2027 planning budget, or UPWP, including a summary of each of the focus areas. Technical committee members gave their support for beginning a public comment period, which is ongoing. It's being held February 5th through March 8th. That's all I have from the technical committee.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate that. We now ask for a report from the May meeting of the Interagency Consultation Group.
Anna, are you able to give a report on the Interagency Consultation Group?
Yes. Good morning, everybody. So ICG met on February 4th to discuss the methodology letter. The draft methodology and assumptions letter outlines the proposed technical work tasks, procedures, and assumptions to be used for conducting the federally required air quality conformity determination for the TIP and the LRTP. The letter was finalized after the meeting and sent to our federal partners on February 5th. The Baltimore region is currently in a serious non-attainment area for the ozone standard. MDE also provided an update that they submitted exceptional events requests for 33 days to exclude smoke impacted days from the 2023 data set. MDE received a proposed Clean Data Determination, CDD, from the EPA on January 26, 2026, so just last month, for the exceptional events request, which means that if finalized, EPA's CDD will suspend MDE's responsibility to submit certain serious attainment SIP elements, as long as the Baltimore area continues to attain the 2015 ozone standard. And this was reflected in this year's methodology letter. Because of this, the mobile emissions budgets to be used for conformity this year are from the Baltimore Moderate Non-Attainment SIP. Next, we heard about two tip amendments, which will be presented today. The first being the Abington Road Bridge number 169 over CSX Railroad in Harford County, and the second one from MDOT SHA, the I-695 bridge replacement on Putty Hill Avenue. Both amendments were voted to remain exempt from the conformity requirements. And the next ICG meeting will be in person here at BMC on April 8th. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. We'll now move on to our action items. Mr. Lang, please introduce those first action items.
Certainly. Well, I'm pulling up the presentation. Let me start by saying that today the BRTB is being asked to consider resolution 26-19. Harford County is requesting to amend the TIP for updated funding on the Abington Road Bridge over CSX Railroad. We're going to begin with Ms. Nicole Condell of BMC, who will introduce the resolution and hand it over to the speaker from Harford County. Nicole?
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. So as noted, we have resolution 2619 regarding a project in Harford County. And this project went to the Tech Committee as well as ICG earlier this month and passed through both committees. And as far as conformity goes, it was determined that this remains to be an exempt project. So I will pass the mic over to Matt Miller with Harford County to discuss the project details. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. Hello and good morning, everybody. My name is Matt Miller with the Harford County Department of Public Works. I'll be presenting the TIP amendment for the Abington Road Bridge over CSX Railroad. The purpose of the TIP amendment is to adjust funding for construction and include additional funding for construction inspection and engineering funds in FY26. This is a pre-existing project included in the current TIP. The project purpose is to replace a serious and poor condition rated bridge to address public safety, increasing the width of the bridge and providing a sidewalk to provide a safer traveling area for both vehicles and pedestrians. Additionally, the project will eliminate the need for a load restricted bridge, realign existing intersections to eliminate severe skew angles, improve intersection sight distance, reduce maintenance needs for working on and above CSX Railroad property, as well as replace an existing ductile iron water pipe and replace it with a larger water main, which will suspend from the bridge superstructure over CSX property. As noted on the previous slide, this TIP amendment is to adjust funding for construction and include additional funding for construction inspection and engineering funds in FY26. This more aligns with the current project schedule in which Harford County intends to solicit the project this coming summer for construction 2027. For this amendment, funding is proposed as follows. Construction, $15 million, 100% federally funded. Other, which would be construction inspection, $250,000 at an 80-20 split between the federal and local funds. And then engineering, which would be construction services, at $150,000 at an 80-20 split between federal and local funds. I'd like to thank everybody for their time this morning to go over this project and the requested TIP amendment. My contact information is noted on the screen if additional information is needed. I'll now open the presentation to any questions anyone may have.
With that, Mr. Chair, we remand back to the BRTB and ask for consideration of resolution 26-19.
All right, thank you. I now ask a member to move for approval of the resolution and a second. Howard County moves.
Harford County seconds.
All right, thank you. That was Howard for the move and Hartford for the second. Does any BRTB member have any questions or comments on the resolution? All right, seeing none. All right. We now ask if any member of the public has any questions or comments on the resolution. For those online, please indicate if you would like to comment in the chat box. Todd, has any member of the public asked to speak?
Chair and board, currently there is no one requesting to speak on this resolution.
All right, thank you. So we'll now proceed to the vote. Again, with the cameras on, when Rebecca reads your name, please indicate aye or nay. Thank you.
Annapolis, Anne Arundel County, Baltimore City.
Aye.
Thank you. Baltimore County,
Aye.
Carroll County,
Aye.
Harford County,
Aye.
Howard County,
Aye.
Queen Anne's County,
Aye.
MDOT,
Aye.
and RTA of Central Maryland.
Aye.
Thank you so much.
All right, the resolution has passed. Next action items, please, Mr. Todd.
Today, the BRTB is being asked to consider Resolution 26-22. So the Maryland Department of Transportation State Highway Administration is requesting to amend the TIP to add an engineering phase to the I-695 bridge replacement over Putty Hill Avenue. Again, we'll ask Ms. Nicole Condell to introduce the resolution and hand it off to a speaker from SHA. Nicole?
Hi again. In this resolution 2622, as noted, SHA is requesting to add funding for an existing project. This project also went to the Tech Committee and ICG earlier this month, passed through both committees. And it is noted that this was confirmed by ICG as exempt from Clean Air Act conformity analysis. I will pass the mic over to Ben Allen from SHA, who will give further details on the project itself. Thank you.
Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Ben Allen here from State Highway Administration. You can go to the next slide. So as discussed previously, we are requesting additional design funding for this particular TIP. And this is specifically for final design. And this action also changes the design schedule for the project. Next slide. So this project replaces a poorly related and weight-restricted bridge to keep the roadway safe and open to traffic. Worth noting that there are multiple utility relocations that are going to be needed before the bridge replacement takes place, and those efforts are ongoing. Next slide. So this particular the amount of design funding that is proposed to be adding to the TIP is about 1.259 million, which is using NHPP funding, so an 80-20 federal state split. SHA anticipates design being completed in fall 2027 compared to the previous schedule of winter 25-26. And then it's worth noting that the construction funding included in the FY 2026 and FY 2027 is associated with ongoing utility relocation efforts. Utility relocations are anticipated to be complete in spring 2027, at which time bridge placement construction will take place. And that's all I have. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them at this time. Thank you.
And with that, Mr. Chair, we ask the BRTB to consider Resolution 26-22.
All right. I now ask a member to move for approval of the resolution and a second.
Baltimore County will move it.
Baltimore City will second.
All right, thank you. That was Baltimore County for the move and Baltimore City for the second. Thank you. Does any BRTB member have any questions or comments on the resolution? All right. We now ask if any member of the public has any questions or comments on the resolution. For those online, please indicate you would like to comment in the chat box. Todd, is any member of the public asked to speak?
Chair and board, currently there's no one requesting to speak in the chat box.
All right, thank you. We now proceed to the vote. Again, with the cameras on, when Rebecca reads your name, please indicate aye or nay.
Annapolis, Anne Arundel County, Baltimore City.
Aye.
Thank you. Baltimore County,
Aye.
Carroll County,
Aye.
Harford County,
Aye.
Howard County,
Aye.
Queen Anne's County,
Aye.
MDOT,
Aye.
and RTA of Central Maryland.
Aye.
Thanks so much.
All right, when the resolution has passed, now on to the informational items. The BMC Executive Director, Michael Kelly, will provide an overview of the transportation-related legislation moving through the Maryland General Assembly.
Great, thank you, Mr. Chair. And I see Todd has this pulled up. So I'm going to give a quick summary of sort of some of the high-level bills. I know they've probably already been discussed locally and on the board. The first is House Bill 894, the Land Use Transit-Oriented Development Alterations. This is the Housing Opportunity Act, looking largely at promoting TOD at the local level. I would encourage all the members to check in locally to make sure to see exactly what your specific county positions are. In general, I believe most of the jurisdictions are trying to find ways of being supportive of this. Next slide, please. Senate Bill 188 here is the Transportation Authority revenue bond limit increase. This has already crossed over to the opposite chambers. This is raising bond levels for the Francis Scott Key Bridge. I would expect this to pass in short order, but it's very important for the region. Next slide, please. Senate Bill 460. This is an SSTAT related bill that will have particular local concern. It has to do with the cost sharing of aerial photography, satellite photography used in GIS, and it is proposing moving those costs to the locals. Again, something for your local departments to pay attention to and weigh in as needed. Next slide, please. Senate Bill 62, and I'm sure Jeff Anderson could provide much more detail on this, but this is the CTP Prioritization Act. Again, something to check in on. I know different jurisdictions have different positions on this, but a very important piece of transportation legislation for the state. Next slide. The Highway User Revenue Capital Grants bill, this is of particular interest to Baltimore City. And the sponsors are Senator McRae and Delegate Edelson, both of Baltimore City. Next slide. Fully autonomous vehicles, Senate Bill 909. This is legislation that is going to define the way the state and local governments can interact with autonomous vehicles and the companies providing them. There are significant limitations on local abilities to make rules for autonomous vehicles that I would expect MML and MACO to certainly have interest in. But again, this is a bill that each jurisdiction should really be focused on to make sure they don't have any questions or concerns. Next slide, please. Transportation in the major highway capacity expansion projects. This is a bill from Delegate Edelson and Senator Hettleman that is focused on air quality. It has, I believe it's in its third iteration this year. Last year, there were significant changes made towards the end of session that was reintroduced sort of in that stature. But it's a bill that is designed, it's certainly, its stated intent is to promote clean air and mitigate carbon emissions. and would have impacts statewide. And again, this bill has come a long way from the way it was introduced, and a lot of compromises have been made to address some of the needs of the state and local governments. Next slide. So there's a set of highway safety legislation. So the bills on the next slide are statewide. A number of these are focused on Prince George's County, but I wanted to share them because it's bills that could end up having statewide issues. There's also a set of legislation from the Maryland Department of Transportation that is focused on, I just had it up on my screen, I lost it, but it's focused on safety, and I would commend everyone to focus on the bills that MDOT is tracking as part of its Serious About Safety campaign. Any questions or concerns at this point? That's really a very quick summary, but it's the bills that our staff reviewed and thought should be at the top of everybody's list for this session.
All right. Thank you, Mike. I don't see any questions.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I appreciate this. All right. Moving on to other business. Is there any other business to come before the BRTB?
Your chairs, staff does currently have no other business before the BRTB right now. Thanks.
All right. Thank you. At this time, I call for a vote to close the meeting. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All right. The next meeting for BRTB will be virtual and is scheduled for March 24th. Thank you all.